This is yet another MBA GOAT, a podcast featuring conversations with the greatest of all-time MBA alumni from the Naveen Jindal School of Management at the University of Texas at Dallas. We are here to celebrate the outcomes of graduate management education and to identify remarkable examples of how the MBA program here at the Jindal School has transformed the lives of our alumni. Now, here's Lisa Shatz, Assistant Dean for the Jindal School's MBA programs. Take it away, Lisa.
Hey, you guys. Welcome to yet another MBA GOAT. We're here today with Daniel Myers, who was a 2015 graduate of the Evening Cohort program and is now Global Lead in Developer Relations with Snowflake. Welcome, Daniel.
Thank you, and I'm excited to be here. Thanks for the invite.
Awesome. Well, I could try and represent your career both during the program and after, but it's been pretty incredible. So I don't think I can do it justice. I'm going to let you talk about some of the stuff you've done because you have really taken that MBA, combined it with an engineering degree, and done some pretty fantastic stuff.
Yeah. So right out of my MBA, my MBA here at UTD really had a big impact and continues to have that big impact. So right after the program, I graduated. Within just a few weeks, I started at Cisco, where I helped to build a sales team covering Fortune 10 companies, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, Facebook, all companies with large data centers, and how to build a network that could facilitate the web scale for those networks and data centers. Fast forward, I was there for 3 years, and I joined Google, where I helped drive the integration between Google Search and Google Assistant. We called it web and content, where utilizing all of the search's data and making it so that Google Assistant could understand and answer questions about that data. And then after about 2 years there, I joined Snowflake. We've had an amazing run and continue to have this accelerated growth where even now I've been at Snowflake for over 2 years, and we have doubled in size in terms of employees, and having a really great growth for the company.
So when you were in the program, you were in the evening program, in the evening cohort, and so you were working at the same time. Did you know, I'm going to go through the program. When I'm done the program, I want to go to the Bay Area and be with a big tech company? Or did you just kind of go with the flow and that kind of fell in your lap?
No, yeah, it's a good question. I really liked, I've always been an engineer at heart, and Silicon Valley is, where a lot of that has happened historically. And, I think it was a combination where I wanted to really get my feet wet and go out there, learn what it's all about, and utilize that time to grow myself and the companies that I'm with. But I'm glad to be back in Texas. Texas, I like to say, you can move out of Texas, but you can't take Texas out of me, right? Mm-hmm. And so after 5 years moving back to Texas, and couldn't be happier than back.
Well, we're happy you're back because you're one of those people that you always do a lot of things in addition to your work, right? So you are participating and helping our students, which we greatly appreciate. But you also it seems like you're always doing other things. So you have some patents, you are on some boards. Talk about the things that you've done outside of your work and how, if you think they have had a big impact on your success.
Absolutely. So, right now I'm an advisory board member, AIML for Dev Network, it's a series of developer and engineering conferences around the globe. This is a great opportunity to, at these conferences, learn about, as an engineer, the latest trends in technology, AIML, and how to scale and build products using those technologies. In addition, you mentioned some of the patents, right? So I've inventor of 3 different patents, mostly around the Internet of Things and helping to build automation for oil and gas. And so that's all of these things I would say have helped me progress to where I am today, and has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's amazing when I look at the students today because so many are like you. When I got my MBA, and this is in the 90s, you had to go to class and get good grades. And that's what we did. And I'm so glad I did it when I did, because to compete in today's market with people creating apps and new companies and patents, and it's amazing what students can do when you'd think they'd be pretty busy just taking the classes that they take. So it's really about not just accepting what the university says, this is your MBA, and doing what you're told. It's really about kind of making your own opportunities and your own path. And it seems like that's something that you're kind of particularly good at. So what would you say to students who are going into an MBA program about looking beyond just the classroom?
Absolutely. I love that question. I mean, I really think that the relationships that you build in the program pay off in dividends, later on, right? So as you go through these programs, I did the evening cohort. The thing I loved about that program is the fact that you are in person and you're able to build these relationships with your classmates, because you're in many of the same classes together throughout the course of the whole program. And so those relationships bring new opportunities later. I like to tell people that, my philosophy on the way I operate on success is, education is key and foundational. It prepares you for those opportunities, and it can help bring opportunities. But the opportunities are where you can build upon that success. And education prepares you for when those opportunities come. Relationships bring up new opportunities. And so when you're thinking and strategizing on your own career, you want to have that education that prepares you, and you want to be able to build that network, those relationships that bring new opportunities to help propel you, throughout your entire career.
So you talked a little bit about that foundation, but your foundation goes back earlier. You're actually a UT Dallas undergrad as well. What made you decide to go to the same school for grad school as you went for undergrad?
Yeah, I mean, I had such a great education for my undergrad. I did computer engineering here at UTD. Loved it, loved the professors. So obviously I knew that the education was superb, right? So I was going to be able to achieve that. But two, I think everything else that goes around with a good program. I mean, again, the relationships. I love the fact that the professors are great. I chose UTD in large part because I saw that I was going to be able to do the program and get a very nice ROI after graduating.
And you talk a lot about the relationships, and of course, there's a lot of online MBA programs now. With COVID, I think more students are pushing on flexibility. What are your thoughts about flexibility versus the in-person experience?
Yeah, I mean, both are good, but obviously, I chose to be in person because you get a different kind of interaction with folks. I was a groomsman in one of my classmates' weddings, right? That's the type of relationship that we're building in these cohorts, and it's something that lasts far beyond just after just when you graduate. The relationships that you build online versus in person are very different.
I often tell students that if you look back at your career, you might have a job for 2 or 3 years, and if you look back 10 years on a job you had, how many relationships did you take from that? You'll never have an opportunity again, generally after grad school, where you are so close with such a big group of people. So that same investment of 2 years' time done well, you have 35 or 40 people that you really can say know you well, can represent you, can trust you, can reach out for favors, those kind of things. You really don't have that chance ever again after grad school. People who make use of that really benefit, and it's great to see when we have a 10-year reunion for one of our classes, and we might say, okay, you signed up, where's your class? And they'll be like, oh, I'll just chat them, and we'll get 20 RSVPs in the next day. So those opportunities don't come along very much in life, and it's just one of those examples of taking advantage of the things that you can.
I totally agree with that. I think just to reiterate, the education that you get combined with the relationships that you build really sets you up for success in an evening cohort program here at UTD.
So if you were talking to someone going into the evening cohort and having to balance that work and school at night, what advice would you have for balancing that?
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest. I mean, it's tough because, you're working a full-time job, right? But also that's why it's successful, right? As a member of that program, everybody in that program is going through the same struggles, right? They're taking the exact same exams. They're going through the exact same, quizzes, things like that, while going and work full time. And so that similarity is part of the reason why you're able to build a lasting relationship, because you have so much in similarities with everybody in the class. Some of the things that I would suggest to members of the program going through that is leverage study groups. That's critical, right? Have something that's regular, because you're going to be going through the same exact courses. So you can set this up and go through all the courses together, set up these study groups. I think that will be very critical. And have fun, right? I mean, a big part of it for everybody is to have fun and keep growing.
When you were in the program, I know you've told me that when you got out of the program, your MBA helped you so much in your role at Cisco. But when you were in the program, did you feel like it also was something that you were applying right away to the work you were doing at the time?
Absolutely. As I was going through the program, I was working at a company called PetroCloud. We were a growing startup. I was one of the first 5 people, helped grow it to over 50. And being a early member of the team and growing it and learning from an MBA program, I was able to immediately apply the organizational theory, the things that that I'm learning at the program immediately to the job. And I think that's one of the things that helped me be successful in that role was the education that I was receiving at the same time from UT.
This episode is brought to you by the UT Dallas MBA program, top-ranked nationally and in Texas. The UT Dallas MBA combines a robust core with 13 concentrations. You have an option to add a second master's degree, and your choices for that include 5 STEM-designated programs. The MBA program has full-time, part-time, online, and other formats. They give you flexibility to fit your MBA education into your busy schedule. The skills and training you will receive are what top employers are looking for. For more information, visit us online at jindal.utdallas.edu/MBA.
So I'm going to do the lightning round, which means I'm going to ask you questions and you can't think about them. You just have to blurt out whatever comes to mind. So who is your favorite professor?
I would say Jackie Kimsey.
And why?
I really liked him because, I'm an entrepreneur at heart, and I remember one of his classes, was Intro to Entrepreneurship here at UTD, and that was a lot of fun. I would say, his approach to teaching is one that I'm able to really connect with.
Well, and he brings such great experience. He's still here. And after this, I should catch you up on some of the things that the entrepreneurship program has done, because it has gone just haywire since you were here, with not just in JSOM, but across campus. So I'll update you on that. What was your funniest moment?
The funniest moment would probably be, when we were traveling. I remember we were going to Germany in the MBA program as one of the travel trips, and we were having fun, and I think just the experience that we had in Germany and some of the fun that we had after the class was pretty funny, in the sense that we were just trying to learn more and grow as a team. So I would say Germany as a whole.
And how much coffee would you say you drank during the years you were getting your MBA? That's kind of a case question, because you have to think really fast about the math.
I would say probably near. On a curve, near infinite curve, I would coffee drinker at heart. I love my lattes. Here in the Texas Dallas area, Ascension is probably my number one. I still go there all the time, and love their coffee.
We share that. They absolutely the best coffee in Dallas. Any habits you picked up, good or bad, during the program? Some people would say drinking too much coffee is a bad habit. I still drink a lot of coffee, but the one good habit is I learned, just because of how much I was doing at the time, having a to-do list every day, and itemizing out the things I needed to accomplish that day was something that obviously I would go through and accomplish things, but the physical act of writing them down and crossing them off is a habit that I still do. Yeah, Really just time management in general.
Yeah.
If you don't have it coming into the program, you're going to have it coming out. There's just no other way to manage that much. Last question, useful class. What is your most useful class? Not your favorite, but the most useful.
Oh, most useful class. I would say one of my later term entrepreneurial classes, we worked through businesses that we were in. And we had a specific goal at the end of the class, and it was almost like having a professor advisor helping you build your business. I would say that was very useful and something that I remember, still to this day.
So I'm going to go back to one of the answers during the lightning round and ask you to embellish a little bit. So you went on one of our trips. I get my hand slapped a little bit. They say, don't call them trips. They're actually classes that have a trip in it.
Yeah.
But everybody does it for the actual trip. There are a lot of opportunities for doing things outside of the normal kind of class setting. One of them is case competitions. Another is the classes that include a trip. Talk a little bit about that trip. What made you want to do that? Because, obviously it's fun, but it's also, even though the class work might not be more than a regular class, it's certainly, with everything going on, getting a ticket and going out of the country and all of that, what made you decide to take advantage of that?
Several reasons. One, when we were there, a lot of what we did was we had a tour and learned all about how Amazon and their warehouse, they were building out these massive warehouses and all the logistical things that they would do on how to plan them out, where to put them, the business behind the warehouse. And so I think part of it was almost like the case study experience of going through there and learning about that and was a big piece of it. But I also say that the relationships, I go back to relationships a lot because I truly believe that they are relationships as a whole are vital to career growth. And having this class, going through there, you are, going through a lot of the same courses as your friends. And that's pretty powerful. And so I think it was a combination of what I learned while there, being able to go to Germany, that was fun, and the experience of actually completing that and going through it.
You're going to be jealous, but we are I'm going to be leading a trip for MBA students to Dublin spring break, and it just happens to fall over St. Paddy's Day week.
That's awesome.
I made a promise to myself years back that when I took students to Prague, that I would never take students again to a place that the water was more expensive than the beer. And I'm breaking my own rule, but it's only for St. Paddy's Day. I can't give it up.
That's going to be a lot of fun. I think that's something that I assume a lot of folks are going to be looking forward to.
Yeah, and Ireland, what a great place to see the development of a new business model where really over just 30 years it has gone from a farming kind of environment, not a lot of industry, to a tech center. So I'm looking really forward to finding out kind of how that all happened in such a short period of time. What other thoughts do you have for students who are considering an MBA program, and not just UT Dallas versus others, but really format? There's obviously the evening cohort where you go through very quickly. There's the flex program here where you go through slower. There's the executive MBA program. When a student is looking for an MBA program, what are the top things? And this is specifically for people who are in the workforce that are going to be working. What things should they really be looking at? What should their priority be in selecting a school?
I love that question. I would say that the factors and considerations for people, looking at an MBA program, one is the quality of education and the tier, right, of the program. UTD is great. You see that all the time. I love it when in my newsfeed I see UT Dallas come up, just continue to move up in the rankings. I even saw recently that we're now number 19 in national rankings. That always a nice highlight.
And when you say up, you're talking about in the rankings,
exactly.
In U.S. News and Business Week.
That was a nice highlight of my day. So things like that are really great, and it's great to see as an alum. That's great. So that's one factor in consideration, is obviously the education in the program. The other is that flexibility, like what for the role that you have now and the role that you want to get after the program, what are the skills that you need? Everybody's job is different. So both from what they're actually doing in the role that they are in, but also how flexible it is to be able to go, whether it's a full-time program, evening cohort, online. So that is definitely a factor, right? Is your schedule and your work schedule, and then also is what types of elements does the school have outside of the courses? UTD is great with this as well. I love coming back and seeing the new buildings and the new things that I think I saw some Bloomberg terminals and things like that somewhere. Mm-hmm. So that's cool. So looking at those types of elements as well, in addition to the flexibility and the education, I think all combined helps to build, and select which program to choose. And obviously I chose UTD both for my undergrad and grad, and so I think it's been awesome.
So you came into the MBA program with an engineering degree. We have so many students who come in and they say, "Oh, I'm so behind the eight ball because I have an engineering degree. I haven't taken these accounting classes and finance classes." And actually, a huge chunk of our students have an engineering background. I think that has something to do with the fact that we're such a technical, analytical school. Talk a little bit about the benefits. I guess I would word that the benefits of being an engineering student in an MBA program.
Yeah. I mean, I think first off is that it provides a well-rounded education across the board, right? So you're coming in with this STEM degree, and as you're moving, you're learning about the rest of the business, mm-hmm. right? And that is important as you move up in your career and you progress, is to be able to identify where and how other parts of the business can help you be successful as an engineer. And depending on what your goal is in your career, some folks they want to move up, be chief engineer, right? Absolutely, that's fantastic. And other parts want to move into management, right? And building out, the VP of engineering. Both of those roles, I would argue, benefit tremendously from a MBA degree, because no matter what, you're going to want to know and need to know how marketing, how sales impact the bottom line of your business, and how those interact with engineering teams. So I would say, for me personally, it's helped me because, one, the mathematical background that you get from a STEM degree directly applies to a lot of the mathematical-oriented courses in an MBA. And the MBA, again, provides you with the rest of the context of the business that you can apply to your role as an engineer. So I would say those two elements have really helped.
And from an administrative perspective, I'll tell you what I see is those engineering students are so critical on their teams. And when we create the teams, we actually make sure that there's an engineer on each team because they are the strength of the analytical kind of coursework. And so I see a lot where there'll be a couple people who don't have very strong analytical skills. And so the engineer is really the one who's kind of helping the team. And then, of course, in accounting or whatever, there's someone else that's helping you. And that's kind of how the teams work. So those engineers are really critical in bringing everybody up to kind of their best level.
Yeah, I completely agree.
All right. Well, it has been so good catching up, Daniel. I'm glad you're back in Dallas. You came out during Lead Camp to help with some of the students, so we appreciate that. And I think in a couple of years, you'll actually be we'll be looking at a 10-year reunion for your class. So
yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and it's going to be exciting.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
We are so glad you could join us today and hear about the journey of yet another MBA GOAT. For me, my MBA was truly transitional, as it is for so many of our students. If you're wondering where an MBA can take you, reach out to us and let's talk about you. Email us at mba@utdallas.edu and feel free to ask for me.
Thanks for listening to this episode of yet another MBA GOAT podcast. Join us online at mbagoat.com to find episode notes, links, and more. Be sure to subscribe to yet another MBA GOAT podcast on Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcasting app. If you like what you hear, please leave us a 5-star review. That will help spread the word about the podcast and the Jindal School's MBA programs. To learn more about the Jindal School's MBA programs, go to jindal.utdallas.edu/MBA.